Long before there were pharmacies, there were healers. Mothers, fathers, and neighbors who turned to the earth for wellness. Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Applegate. Each week we explore the plants, traditions, and time-honored remedies that connect us to that ancient wisdom, so you can bring it into your modern life.
So today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been kind of going on with me the last couple of weeks. Basically, if I don't stay on top of it, I really notice it fast, and that is muscle cramps. Muscle cramps are really common, especially when you have change of seasons. Especially going from fall to winter, we tend to get a little more dehydrated. The water tends to get used up faster in our system, and so do minerals. Especially if we're exposed to any illnesses that are going around, it tends to use up our mineral stores really fast. And once our minerals get used up, that's when muscle cramps happened. So I really wanted to talk about muscle cramps and minerals and how to deal with those muscle cramps using minerals. So if you're not familiar with the PM minerals, basically Dr. James, he'd used several different mineral formulas. My son really finds it funny. We have a big list of certain things and which of the formulas help with different issues within the body, like health issues or whatever. And minerals is on every single one. So my son, he took over the office for me for a little while, and while I was gone, and he saw this chart, looked it over, and he's like, so no matter what anybody comes in and asks for, I just give them minerals. So that's kind of a simplistic thing. Minerals are very helpful. They're very necessary for health, and that's why we really like them. So Dr. James had several different mineral formulas that he would use, and he would use them differently. And, sometimes he'd get the results he wanted and sometimes not. So we kind of like worked together over many years on coming up with the mineral formula that he liked. So there's three that are really, really necessary. Whenever you look at a multi-mineral, it's going to have all three of these: potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And those three minerals are essential when it comes to muscle cramps. If you look at our minerals, they're a dark color. They're not white. Everybody expects minerals to be white. Ours are dark simply because we put a colloidal mineral in with it that is black. Like if you get near the powder when we get it, like even if you just look at it, you got black on you. It's really, but the amazing thing about these colloidal minerals is it is fossilized. They're fossilized beds of plant material. So basically it's plant material that has been buried underground for a long time, and all of the minerals have kind of like seeped into them. But if you ever think about minerals, the best way to get your minerals is through plants, simply because they're pre-digested. If you can't like go out, say to like here in Albuquerque, we have the mountains right behind us, and they're basically marble and some other things. You can't go lick the rocks and get enough calcium out of them. Your body can't even use that calcium. But a plant that grows in those with those rocks around, the plant can actually absorb that calcium, break it down, and our bodies can use it. And so that's the colloidal minerals that are added to our PM minerals. And that's why we really like them, because they're, as Dr. James would say, pre-digested. They're easy for your body to assimilate and start using. So there's lots of different kinds of muscle cramps, and the ones that tend to really show up early are the long muscles. So the back of our legs, our calves, that's a really common place to get it. The from your buttocks down to your knee. That's another really long muscle, and it requires a lot of minerals to be healthy. And if it doesn't have enough, that's when those cramps happen. You can get them like in your back because there's long muscles there. So basically, cramps are when the muscles don't have enough minerals to flex properly. So whether it's stretch or to contract or whatever, and so you'll get binding and pulling, and it's really, really painful. So, and another kind of cramps are menstrual cramps, which minerals will help, but there's other things also that we could talk about that will help, and maybe we'll do that in a different episode. I just want to talk about these muscle cramps because right now, if I forget my minerals within 2 days, I can start feeling the tinge of a cramp, which reminds me, oh, take the minerals because I'm probably fighting off whatever's going around and trying to keep up with being hydrated and everything with the change of seasons and stuff. So we can also get cramps basically from having our muscles stay in the same position for a long time. So like if you sit at a desk, work at a computer all day, you can get cramps that way. And then there's other, certain foods that rob the body of minerals. Red meat is a really common one. Sodas, very common. That soda sucks a lot of minerals out. It also takes a lot of the liquid out of our body. So for every cup of soda you drink, you need 15 to 20 cups of water to replace the water that it's going to suck out of your body. So we've kind of hinted at the big three minerals that are necessary for our bodies, not for our muscles to contract and relax properly. And even if we're just slightly deficient in any one of those, then cramps become very common, especially like right now, with the flu or whatever's going around, that sucks the calcium out of our bodies really fast. And the potassium passes through our bodies really fast. Potassium is one of those minerals that gets used up really fast because a lot of our body systems require it for permeability of cells, for the kidneys to function properly, for the bladder to function properly. Potassium gets used up. So let's talk about the different minerals. So kind of what we talked about, calcium. So calcium is what our muscles use for contraction and relaxation. So whenever our muscles move, it uses calcium to help the muscles move properly. So if we have an imbalance, if we don't have enough calcium, that's when you can get like muscle spasms or twitching in certain muscles. And that's really common in the legs, restless leg syndrome, anything like that. That's a calcium deficiency. And for a lot of people, just replenishing their calcium will help with a lot of that, the pain and the discomfort of the muscles twitching and stuff like that. Our kids growing up, a lot of children have growing pains. Our first 3 or 4 children, sometimes I feel bad for them because they went through growing pains and they had all this really bad pain, and we found out that it's kind of a mineral deficiency. Basically, as we continue, if we gave them minerals before bed, the growing pains were gone. So from then on, we haven't had growing pains in our house since our first couple of children because we learned that just replenishing minerals helps with those growing pains because the muscles, basically, as they're sleeping, your muscles they relax, but they also are stretching. So especially with children, as their muscles are stretching and growing with their body, if they don't have enough minerals to give that elasticity that it needs, then that's what causes that pain. And then they wake up in the night crying and they're in so much pain, and there's nothing, you can massage it a little bit or whatever, but minerals before bed is an amazing thing. And we even found that with some kids, if they started to have growing pains in the night and we gave them minerals, the growing pains would go away. So growing pains minerals are super wonderful for growing pains. Potassium. So we kind of talked about how potassium gets used up really fast. Potassium is what maintains the fluid levels in our bodies. So especially with like right now, as our bodies are needing more water, more hydration, potassium is really, really essential to get the water where it needs to go and to help get rid of the wastewater and to use water where it needs to be. Potassium also helps with our nerves and transmitting of signals between the nerve cells and also between nerve cells and muscles. So pain, a lot of times pain is registered in the body as the nerves aren't communicating correctly. So if you're low in potassium, that's where you get some of that pain, like the growing pains and other muscle pains that come along with it. So magnesium relaxes the muscles after they constrict, or it also helps calm down nerve impulses. So magnesium, if you're low in magnesium, then you get those stress-induced cramps. So replenishing your magnesium will help with the stress cramps and the nighttime cramps. So the reason PM Minerals is so helpful with cramps is because it's got that blend that we talked about: calcium, magnesium, potassium, plus several other smaller minerals that our body uses for health and for well-being. But that was one of the things that we had to study up on and learn a lot about, is that ratio of calcium to magnesium to potassium. So it's 3 to 1 to 2. So three times the amount of calcium, 1 times the amount of potassium, and 2 times the amount of magnesium. And so we worked on that and had to figure out what that balance was to come up with what we wanted for PM Minerals. And the amazing thing about that is it replenishes minerals that get lost in our body from sweat, stress, poor diet, environmental factors, like if your body's fighting off a flu or something like that. The minerals was developed for that sort of thing. I could tell tons of stories of people calling about, the kids having the growing pains, or people with restless leg syndrome. There are people that would call that have restless leg syndrome, and it would keep them up all night. Basically, once they stop moving for the day, their legs are just tingly and it feels like something's crawling all over their legs and they're moving and stuff, and it made it hard to sleep and everything. And I would tell them that the PM Minerals would fix it, and it was an easy fix, and they were always like, that just seemed too easy. But as soon as they did it, within a couple of nights, they were able to sleep through the night and the restless leg pain went away. So minerals are just amazing for that. And it doesn't take much. It's like 1 or 2 capsules at night before bed. If you've got a severe cramps, I take 3 or 4 when the cramps start coming on, just to kind of replenish and rebuild the minerals that are lost. So it's important when taking minerals to keep yourself hydrated. Like I said, water is how the minerals move throughout our body. So it's good to be hydrated. Dr. James was very much dark green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, dark lettuces, things like that have a lot of the calcium, magnesium, and potassium in those right ratios for our body to absorb it. And the nice thing about the PM Minerals is it was intended for just about anybody. Anybody can take the PM Minerals. My grandkids, who are 3 and 5 right now, will take minerals before bed just to prevent the growing pains. But for any health thing that they need, they can take it. And like I said, growing pains, you notice it within some kids within just a couple of hours. Like our kids could not sleep because they were in so much pain, and in a couple of hours of taking PM Minerals, the growing pains were gone. Restless leg syndrome, just a day or 2, and you'll start to notice a big difference. It all depends on how severe the deficiency is, but for a lot of people, it just takes 1 or 2 nights. And then you want to be consistent with it because you're wanting to replenish what was lost. So it's important to keep up with taking the minerals. So I just wanted to take some time and share with you like what to do for cramps because I keep having the cramps and it's like they're not, it's not like keeping me up all night, but I feel that little twinge, and when I feel the twinge, I know I'm getting low on minerals and I need to remember to take a little more minerals at night so that I don't get the really bad, because I've had those Charlie horses, the ones where you can't walk for 3 days because your muscles just knot up like that. There was somebody else just recently, he was trying to change his tire and had his muscles in his neck just twist up like that, simply because he was low on the minerals that his muscles needed to contract and stuff. So minerals are a great product. They're great for helping you avoid those cramps that come at this time of year. So it's been great visiting with you. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you, and we will talk to you again soon.
You've been listening to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Applegate. Visit drugfreehelpstore.com to download your free Healer in Every Home guidebook and explore herbal formulas that support your health naturally. Be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves natural living as much as you do. Thanks for joining us, and remember, true healing starts at home.
It is not the intent of professional herbal instruction or any persons associated therewith to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But professional herbal instruction or any persons associated herewith assume no responsibility. The claims and statements made on this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.